Alright, so the ECUMaster standalone is in the Supra, the car is running, and today we're going to be teaching this thing some manners. We're going to be messing with the fuel maps, tweaking the ignition timing a little bit, and if everything goes smoothly and time permits, we're going to be adding in the Mac valve and programming that to add in a little bit more boost. So we're not quite sending it to the moon just yet, and in all honesty, I'd rather not do that to begin with. But this is going to be a huge learning experience for me and hopefully to anyone who's watching. So if you guys can at all, I'd greatly appreciate it if you hit that like button and do me a favor and subscribe. But aside from all that, let's go ahead and get started. Let's get the computer hooked up and get to tweaking a few little things in this car that need to be done first. Okay, for starters, I've got my fuel maps up right here. So we have the cranking maps and then we have fuel maps. And then we also have the idle map. So for starters, I'm going to get with the cranking. If you remember, we had to open up this map here and this map here. And during cranking, we had to bump in a little bit more fuel. So this is cranking fuel, and this is the percentage of duty cycle that gets pushed in while the engine is cranking over. So as of right now, I think this is all pretty good. We're gonna pump in a little bit more fuel there. And then for this one, so this here is a fuel enrichment map, and this is what the vehicle uses after the car initially fires off. So it looks for about 1 to 200 RPM to dump in cranking fuel. Once it kicks off from there, we go to fuel enrichment, and it'll basically, right now what it's doing is it'll pop off, fire off, and then I have to hold the gas to keep it running. So from there, with that said, we know we have to go to warm up enrichment. When the engine is cold, the fuel isn't completely atomizing as it needs to, so it does need a little bit more extra fuel, and basically it's going to run rich regardless. So what I'm going to do is actually grab this to about right here, and we're going to pump in a little bit more fuel there. Here we have the fuel maps. I pretty much I've tweaked it a little bit here and there just to get the car running smoothly for what it is. I'll show you more on this because we're going to be diving heavily into this fuel map today and really getting the auto tune feature tweaked. Yes, there is an auto tune feature with the ECUmaster, and it is going to be beautiful because, well, I've tried using it on other ECUs such as my Honda, and it's very, very subpar. It doesn't really work all that great. I'm not gonna lie, I tested this the other day and it works pretty dang good. The only problem is it only covers the maps that you drive over. We'll go over that later on in this video. Next up, we have boost control, which I'm gonna get into this later on. I've done a few tweaks to it already, but you get the idea. This here is going to be the auto tune feature, which I'm going to be working with. And then over here we have our outputs. So this is my cooling fan setup. We have fuel pump setup, tachometer reading, so on and so forth. So there we have a basic breakdown of the ECUmaster software. Now let's go ahead, plug it into the car, and get everything more dialed in and refined, because I really want this thing just to hop in, turn the key, and let it go. Okay, so we're in the car, we got the computer all connected. I'm gonna go ahead and start the car. I don't know exactly what it's going to do just yet, but what I'm expecting is, because we did bump in the warm-up enrichment, and now we're going to be making sure the car turns on and stays on without giving it any throttle input. So let's see what we got here. There we go. Nope. Shut down. So, looks like we need a little bit more fuel. Let's see here. Let's see what the air fuels are. Aha. So it's running a little bit lean still. We go to fueling. Let's try more fuel. Okay, so we bumped up the enrichment here. Engine start still pretty much the same because it is starting just fine. There we go. All right, let's try this again. And so that was that problem. One thing at a time here, guys. Slowly weeding it out. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Still running a little rich, but that's okay. I'd rather run a little rich and run than not run at all, you know what I mean? So we're slowly getting there. Okay, so looks like we got 8 850-ish on that tack. We've got about 850 on here. We're targeting 870. I think that's good. I really like that. Let's turn the car off here and see what happens when we go to restart it. Alrighty, I like it. So something I just noticed, the AFRs are running a little rich right now on warm-up. Well, it's lean and then it's rich. Like I have to dial in the fuels every time I want to run the car. So there's got to be some sort of like enrichment table for coolant temp that I'm not seeing just yet. So I'm gonna look around for this real quick. Good news, I finally found the fuel enrichment table. It's listed on here as ASE table number 1, which stands for after start enrichment table. So yes, enables a fuel dose enrichment for a set number of engine cycles. So this is exactly what we were looking for, which, you know, I'll start there and we'll work our way up. We'll bump in one there, and then from here on we'll do quite a bit. That should work out a-okay. 3% duty cycle seems very low. For some unknown reason, I am not sure. This is set up to read volumetric efficiency, but I don't know why that number would be so low there. I feel like that isn't right. Guys, if you get any kind of value out of this video whatsoever, it would mean the world to me if you guys went on over to the website, check out billybuilds.com. These here are some of our feature shirts that we have on the website. This is my No Worries 300ZX t-shirt. It says down here, it's an excerpt from an old 300ZX article from a magazine back in the day. It says the 300ZX Turbo is a song, it's a dance, it's rolling, roaring automotive art. There is no color that doesn't suit it. There is no mood-lifting chemical substance it can't replace. And then over here we have the Mark III Supra Dynasty t-shirt, of course with the Billy Built logo and my Supra on it. I am blown away at the fact that we got people all the way in Australia purchasing merchandise. This is freaking unbelievable. Thank you all so much. Let's get back into this video. So before we really get into heavy tuning, I want to set up the auto tune feature. No, this isn't a T-Pain feature in ECUMaster. This is the ECU taking the data from the oxygen sensor and interpolating how much of an error percentage it is and applying it to the VE table that it thinks it needs to be. So before we go and drive the car again, I've already done a little bit just to figure out how exactly it works to show you guys. So basically what you do is you go to Tools, and then down here you go to Auto Tune. You set up your parameters, so minimum RPM. This is basically 15,000 RPM, which is obviously way too much. This is just saying record everything, change everything you can. VE table 1, so on and so forth. You hit OK. Then it'll bring this up. What I like to do as I'm driving is select this menu right here. This cursor right here will then follow where it is on the map. If you look, now I can't actually select any cells. So if I wanted to select a cell, I'd have to uncheck that, go over to here, and then we can highlight this stuff. We're going to right click and apply selection 100%. So then I go back to my fuel and voila. It has interpolated everything from the auto tune table onto my fuel map right here. If you didn't know, this is a VE fuel map. So a VE stands for is volumetric efficiency, and pretty much it reads what the map sensor is doing and the load of the car based on throttle position, puts that into a volumetric efficiency map, and then interpolates that into fuel injector output, which is what this is. So with all that said, let's go ahead and get the auto tune feature set up and take this thing for a drive and see if we can really dial in some of the fuel tables here. It's only at like 500 RPM. That's not right. Why is it doing this? Turns out, just need a little bit more on the enrichment table, ASE. So there it kicked off the fuel enrichment. Okay, so we got auto tune set up here. We're gonna get some driving in and let it tune itself basically. I think I might have to get some upgraded fans for this thing in the very near future, because the fans that are on it just aren't cutting it. Sounds so good. We're running, boys. Let's go. Running super good right now. It does still need quite a bit of fine tuning. I'm going to do a little bit more of that here. You kind of got the idea at this point. We're really just driving it and punching in the numbers as we go. I feel like I should have a good idea for you guys as to where you need to go in the direction of this video as far as getting the car dialed in. If you guys can think of anything else that I've missed in this video that might help you out, drop a comment, let me know. I'm going to do some more driving in this thing and I'll get back with you. All right, y'all, so I've had some time to think about this. I've looked over the data and the maps and the logs and everything I got going on here with the car. Basically, what I've done is I've bumped in a little bit of timing. I've adjusted the after start enrichment map, which basically it needs a little bit of fuel pumped in throughout the entire coolant temp sense range. And then on the colder end of things, it definitely needs probably 20 to 30% pumped into it. At least that's where I'm at right now. I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me on that. I'm literally just doing it on the fly with this car based on what I've seen. So right after the car starts, it looks like it's running pretty lean. And it struggles and stumbles and it doesn't want to stay running. I have the idle air control valve bumped up and I give it gas and it tends to stay idling with the throttle. But that's kind of where I'm at. I am currently working on the fuel injection of it. So with that said, I bumped in a little bit of ignition timing and we're going to hop in the car and go for another quick cruise around the block to see how she runs. One quick thing I've learned here is my coolant fans aren't keeping up with the heat of the car. Basically, I'm gonna have to upgrade either the coolant fans or at least install some sort of fan shroud. I am a huge advocate for proper fan shrouds on your radiator because the biggest misconception is that by swapping from a mechanical fan to an electric fan, you lose a lot of the flow from the fan, which to a degree is correct. However, without proper ventilation, of course, the electric fan isn't going to work as well as a mechanical fan with proper ventilation. But let's take this thing around the block real quick. At wide open throttle still, so that's gonna take some work. This car sounds so good. I love my Z, but my God. Gotta give the inline sixes credit. They do sound fantastic. And here, you can see auto tune doing its thing. You can see it following the RPMs and the load. It's automatically adjusting and fixing the fuel cells as it thinks it needs to. So basically, so then once we're done, we just take all of this data and transfer it over to the VE map. Pretty cool little feature. I know there are other ECUs out there that do this, but this is the best one that I've ran into personally. I'm sure the Haltech Elite 2500 works just the same. if not better. And here we are. Okay, so now that the auto tune data is done, pretty much just go up here. We uncheck this box right here. Then I can come down here and just grab all of this. Right click, apply selection 100%. Then I can just go back to my fuel tables and we can see in here that it should have updated all of it. Yep. Okay guys, so that's pretty much gonna do it for that today. I'm going to look over this data, see if I can pick up anything more tonight, but stick around, I'll be right back with you. What is up y'all? We are back here today and I just realized something. The car is on a completely cold start. So yesterday I was having issues where the car would start up and it wouldn't hold its own idle. I thought it was related to the idle air control valve. Essentially when the car fires up, it's not getting enough fuel, so it wants to die off. But then once it gets up to operating temperature, it has to be leaned out quite a bit. So I'm not entirely sure why that is, but we might just have to run the car with an idle at like 12-to-1 air fuels. I don't understand fully why it's doing that yet. There might be another thing going on that I'm just not aware of. But for right now, that's kind of where we're at with it. Key in, if I can find it. There we go. Oh, there it goes. Basically every time you turn the car on, there's like a period where the oxygen sensor has to heat up. But yeah, 13.0 air fuels right now, and seems to be all right with that. But anyways, I'm gonna let this thing sit here and warm up a little bit, and then we're gonna take it on a quick cruise, get some more data logging in. I'm gonna monitor my ignition timing at this point because the air fuels are starting to be right where I want them. So we're gonna start paying more attention to the ignition timing and bumping in a little bit more timing that way. Like that, our 87 Toyota is running on an ECU from the last decade. You know, obviously I'm no tuning professional. I do a lot of my own tuning. I think once I learn the software and the ECUmaster system better, I'll be able to do it a lot quicker. But you know, as of right now, this is the only ECUmaster I've got. Extremely rich under load. Not too bad though. It looks to be about 12.2 AFRs, which is really good. So to be honest with the fans, I used to have the factory AC condenser fan kick on with my aftermarket electrical fans, and that is not doing that at this point. So I really think that one fan made a huge difference, but I shouldn't have to have that fan on just to keep the car cool. Two fans should be enough. I'm pretty sure these are just eBay generic fans and they're not good. There's no fan shroud or anything like that. So I went ahead and ordered 2 new fans with the fan shroud. I ordered them off eBay, so I don't 100% know what I'm doing. Now that we're back home, let's go ahead and review this data and see what we've been doing this whole time. Okay, so I got you guys set up. Got a clear view of my screen now. Basically, you can see this is my fueling VE map. You can see right here where it kind of like stops. Anything beyond this, I haven't really done too much data logging, but what I'll probably end up doing is just taking all of this on up and interpolating it into the 79, 85, all this down here. I'm sure there's a button for this, but I don't know what it is in this software. I should probably find that out because that'll make things way easier. Let's go ahead and check over this. This is my auto tune table. So we have everything from about 3,800 RPM down at about 30 to 40% duty cycle. So I'm just gonna take this. Oh, I got unchecked that so we can grab it. All right, let's do that. Something really unusual about this that I don't understand why they do it that way, or maybe it's just the map I'm looking at, is it does throttle position based on map. So I don't know why they do. Good news, guys, I figured it out. So to get map versus RPM, in case you're wondering, and you're like me, you like actual load versus RPM instead of just throttle position, you can go to your fueling general and then fuel type speed density, and that will switch it, because before there was nothing there. So there's also alpha N, alpha with map manipulation, and you can go into all this and read through all that. But it even says right here, do not use this correction. Always use correction defined in TPS versus RPM. Yeah, basically you want speed density. There's no other thing. Everything else here is for like specific naturally aspirated applications. Interesting. So this makes more sense to me because, well, honestly, this is what I'm used to. Okay guys, unfortunately I think we're just gonna run out of time today in this video. This seems to have taken a lot longer than I initially intended. I need to go get gas. I got fans I need to fix. The boost controller is going to have to get installed the next video. So if you aren't already, make sure you're subscribed, hit that little notification bell for me, and we'll catch y'all next time. See ya.